Alright, so today let's try to continue with our matchmaking server in Go. And what I want to do today is to have a really simple example. So let's start up our editor, create like a folder examples, and I want to create like an echo server. So you connect to it with netcat, and then you send some message and you get a message back. So that's what I want to do. And yeah, yesterday I tried to continue with the implementation for creating a room, but it was really it sucked. Like, I don't think that's gonna be interesting because I had no internet, and had to deal with it like that. But kind of figure out a way. Right, some ideas maybe could be useful to still upload that, but don't think so. Yeah, so we have this spawn function, and it's gonna get as parameters the code, max players, and it's gonna give us the address, which usually is gonna be localhost. Query port is something that I think the game server should have actually running on two instances. One of them is going to be an HTTP server to be able to communicate stuff like how many players are in the game, how some status maybe, but for now in my mind it's only how many players are in the game. So we can do stuff like kill the server if it's empty, or let other users know how many players are in a game so they don't connect if it's full. Okay. And then the game port, which is what netcat in our example for now is going to use to connect to the server, and if it's an error. And spawn, it's not ready yet, it's not doing anything right now. It's only, oh yeah, like, how do I find some empty ports? That's kind of, it sucks a bit because I'm not sure how to do that. So I just use a net listen on, if you use the port 0, then it finds a new port to listen on. Right, then we get that port, and then I close the listener. So it's not perfect, but this way of using the game server is gonna be just for testing. So game server Docker. In production, you would probably use AWS. So we need a new implementation of this game server interface for AWS, for example, or Azure, or whatever you are using to host games. But yeah, like, that's how I would do it, right? Just for testing. And here we need to run the Docker command to spawn the actual server, and somehow we'll need to pass this information. So the code, the max players, query port, game port, and address. So I think we are gonna do that with environment variables in the Docker command. So we have to keep in mind that these 5 variables are configuration for game servers. Like, yeah, you need to read them from environment variables. So that's gonna be first thing. Then yeah, generating the code. For now, whatever is gonna be A, B, C, D, E, F. Don't really care that much. So yeah, we'll try to create the example, and let's see if it's gonna work to connect to the example. So yeah, let's I think let's call it echo.go. So this is gonna be package main, I guess. Function, whoa, I already forgot, it's function main, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah, function main. So it's gonna be function main, right? yeah, and I moved everything into this lib.go file. So let's see. I'm gonna use server host. Right, this is the address. Then we'll have query port server, which is not gonna be used in this example, but once we figure out what endpoints we need in the game server, we'll use it. But for now, it's just here to query. Okay. Then I also said that we need the code. So server code. And was there anything else? The max players. So max players, let's say. Server max players. Right, so we need all of these environment variables. No, and this is just config. Well, sure, makes sense. Let's call it server. So this is the config for the server. Now, one thing I really don't like is that we have to copy this function. Like for each config that we write, we have to copy it, and it's weird because it's always gonna be the same. But yeah, maybe whatever. For now, let's see. So we'll have function config. We'll not really have an environment file though. I don't think I need to use go.env, but maybe just for the example, I don't know. But yeah, we'll use cleanenv, but I'm not sure that we need all of this stuff because we won't have an environment variable file. We'll only export these variables with Docker, so but would still be cool to test this thing with air. But I mean, it's gonna be just an echo server, so we don't even need to test it. It's gonna work first try anyways, so what's the point? So this is kind of how we do this. Right, we don't need the database, don't need any models, we just need to take the example from, not here, but from our main, from matchmaking. So let's load the config, right? Then maybe we can log it just to see that it was created. And we'll have something like this in the future, but for now we don't care that much about it. So yeah, I guess the easiest way is to create a TCP listener. So TCP listener, if you remember from C, we were doing all those syscalls to bind, to listen, to connect, and from what I looked into yesterday, I found that this is actually doing all of that for us. So if we if we go here and we do something like this, yeah, I mean, if we do something like that, it's gonna probably somehow work. Let's have error creating TCP listener. So the other thing is here we have to use the environment variables or the config cfg, and that's gonna be host and game port. So let's do cfg host and cfg game port. So we'll run the listener on those things, right? And what is really cool about Go is that you can call defer listener close, and it's gonna close the listener once it reaches the end, right? Okay. And then how do we actually use listener dot accept? Right, we need to figure out how we accept. So this accepts only one. Well, this should be afterwards. Here it should be something like if con error is equal to, and then how do you do that? I know that you can have everything in the same if, then that's pretty neat. Okay, something like this. Yeah. Oh wow. If we don't have an error, then we can just say fail to accept connection. Okay, and then we can actually use connection, right? Or am I wrong with that? Huh. I guess, I don't know. Can I use con here? Probably, yeah, probably not. So we have to do it like this. Right, what can we do with connection now? We can read and we can write. Interesting. So yeah, as I said, for now we won't take into account. I mean, it's weird because you'd expect listen to have a maximum number of how many listener. Whatever. I mean, we don't have a while. Is it looping this? Oh my god. Rolling while. That's funny. Oh, it's four. For but how can I say for true? You know what I mean? and here we accept the connection, right? And we need to handle that connection. So I would have something like go handle connection, and we pass the connection in here, right? And I would say accept weights and yeah. Okay, and let's do handle connection now. Function handle connection. Should be something like con wait net.con. Right, and this again is gonna be a for true or something like that. And we do connection.read, and read should be, oh, it has a byte buffer. Interesting. So let's do buffer is equal to make how do you make an array? Actually, I need to say the size or huh. Golang create buffer for read. Yeah, this is weird. Oh, that just works. What the fuck? Anyways, so we'd have n and error. If we get an error, that's gonna suck. But let's say we just crash it. Fail to read buffer. Maybe I also want to show the error. Yeah, maybe it makes sense to include error into this stuff. But it's gonna be interesting what read the data. I mean, n is probably gonna be how much it read, right? So Golang bytes to string. Like, how can we do that? Convert byte array to string. Okay, it's pretty easy. But we don't even need to do that because we want to do connection.write buffer. And this thing is gonna do the same thing. So something and error. Okay. Failed to write. So we have host and game port that we need to echo. So we can do something like server host is gonna be 000. I need to do that. Server host is gonna be 0. Server game port, let's say it's gonna be 6969. And then we do go run examples echo. Right, so we specified all of these two variables which are important, and now I don't need to do nix, but yeah, let's netcat to this thing and say hello. That's interesting. Can we show something like slog info accepted connection or something like this? Accepted connection, that's okay. All right, and then here in handle, slog.info waiting for read or something. And then let's say str is gonna be string buffer received or read str. Oh. Interesting, waiting for read. Connection dot Roland TCP echo server. Let's see if we find an example. So I created a listener like that. Listening on whatever. I could add this thing, would be cool. And then we do accept in a for. I mean, yeah, you don't have to say for true. Okay, fair enough. I accept the connection. Okay, makes sense. Maybe we just want to continue if it fails. Maybe like this, and then we just continue. Oh shit, I have the exact same name. Handle connection. Okay, wait, what's the prefix? Who cares? I don't really care about that. Okay, then we defer connection close. You know, kind of makes sense if you think about it. But I don't really plan to close this for loop, so this guy created a reader. Interesting. So we can do buff IO. Is it a thing? Yeah, it's actually a thing. So you can create a reader because I would assume that connection has that read function on it. No, so it's only like an interface with the read. So it implements the read function. Okay. And then we can read. Okay, let's read that. We can read from the reader, obviously, some bytes. Read bytes until that's interesting. Maybe the issue was that, okay, you read something, you read 0 bytes, so that's why it was behaving like that for me. Honestly, this error handling sucks, dude. Let's use the real a man one. Well, here I don't know if he's right, maybe. Anyway, okay, let's do something like slog.info read bytes, and then we can show the bytes. And then obviously we want to write the connection. Also for connection write, we can actually just use connection write. It should make sense. So here we can just do that and see. Why not just bytes? But we saw that this thing can also error out. And I'm just curious, can we buff IO new writer? Can we actually do something like this? Writer dot write a rune is like a single character, if I remember correctly, right? And the byte is a byte. I mean, it's so weird that you have two types that represent the same thing, but it is what it is. Okay, let's do writer.write bytes. I feel nicer about it like this. Okay. Failed to read and failed to write. Alright, let's see if this thing changes anything. Read bytes. Oh, did I? Okay, I think I know. Okay, so oh, failed to read. Okay, nice, nice, nice. So if it's oh my god. Okay, fair enough. He's right. He's actually right. He's actually right. So if we do this, we actually return. But sometimes, yeah. So if it's an end of file, when we try to read, then it means that we close the connection from the client side. So we return. So this was closed by the client. We'll have to keep in mind all of these edge cases because in when we do like you have a real game, you have to take into account all of these edge cases, like did the client crash, did he close the game successfully, did the server crash, or I don't know, weird stuff like that that you need to take into account, like exception handling, to be able to free up a space in the room, be able to let the user reconnect, or I don't know. Yeah, but it's gonna be easy as well to just close everything and create a new game. But yeah, let's try to be careful when we do that actually. Okay, I'm also curious if the reader can somehow read. Can somehow read like a certain number, but yeah, anyway, let's not care about that. So yeah, what I was saying, I think these should be like that, right? I was always wondering what bet key meant, but I think this is what it means. Or you can even do this kind of stuff, right? Or no? Hmm. Maybe that's what the bet key meant. No, it's still. Wait, let's see. Golang slog in, for example. I mean, yeah, but I want to print something. Hmm. So maybe like this stuff is useless. How do I? Hmm. I just wanted to see if you can have something like percentage %s in C, but wow, but doesn't look like that. So whatever. Let's see if this thing helps. It doesn't. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. It didn't even help. Mm, failed to read. Wait, what? Oh, if it's equal to EOF. What the fuck? Okay, so if we say like hello, interesting, but we don't get back the message. We don't really get back the message. The fuck? Okay, let's try to do connection dot write bytes. This one worked. What the fuck? Explain. Here it said that it's gonna return a P. Slog info write P bytes. Maybe I don't know how to use Is it percentage %d? Yeah, I mean, this is fucking crazy. I have no idea how you use that slope thing. It's so annoying. I mean, I tried it like this and it didn't work. Maybe one day I'll figure it out, but So it says that it returns 6 bytes, but why wasn't it sent? Right, that makes me so confused because reader worked, but writer didn't. Write string. Hello, motherfucker. Let's do also a new line. Still didn't work. Yeah, like so weird. Why? Why did it work with reader, but it doesn't work with writer? Let's see, TCP, Golang, TCP, Buffalo, writer. Yeah, so someone else says, what the fuck, matchmaking? Everyone implementing what I want to implement? The buffer writer has buffered the data. So writer flush. Okay, thank you. I mean, I was expecting something like that, but let's just say that I was expecting the new line to be the flushing whatever writer dot flush. It can error though. See, the thing is, Go has really nice error handling, but if you do this stuff, it doesn't yell at you that you forgot to do error handling, right? Yeah, it doesn't tell you anything. So I'd say even though Rust is more annoying with the errors, you have to explicitly say unwrap, right? But in Go, if you forget to put here the error, then I mean, in a weird way, it can help with not debugging, but with with like faster iterations, but that's not good. Okay, anyway, so if we netcat and we say hello, we get back the message. Right. Okay, that's gonna be annoying. So let's say if error is EOF, we don't show the error because that's not gonna make sense. Okay, so that would be all when it comes to like how a game server is gonna work. Obviously, we'll have like cooler functions around these readers. So implement our own packages and stuff like that. And then probably it's gonna make sense that those packages are gonna implement this reader interface. So you can just say new reader of package or something like that, so it can read packages. I don't know. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, and that's how it's gonna work, right? Because the other thing is we don't really want to handle each connection separately. We want to handle all the connections together. So that's the other thing. Like here, instead of handle connection for each client, sure, maybe we want to do something when each client connects. So for example, when you connect, you send a hello or something, but then you add this connection as a new player in a list, and that's gonna run on a separate thread then, and then that list is gonna be, we'll iterate that list each frame, so each tick would be more correct to say, because we have a tick rate of whatever. So yeah, that's gonna be how it goes, and that's why we have the maximum number of players, because we want to know how big that list is gonna be. So we can have only 2 players, well, that list is gonna be 2 players, and you cannot connect if you go over that capacity. But yeah, maybe it makes sense to have a handle connection first, which just sends a hello, or maybe it sends stuff like map info, other players info, but that should be everything for one player. And then there should be a main handle connections, which iterates all the connections so that um, all the players are updated at the same time. That's the idea. We'll have like a broadcast instead of a write to each one. So we broadcast to all players. I don't think there is a broadcast implemented, so con dot, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, we'll have like a broadcast on all the players. So that's the idea. Okay, can we have a Docker file now? Docker file. Just for the memes. Docker file go. So I want something like this, like from Docker, from Go, but I think the latest version is 1.23. Let's use, I mean, Go version 1.23. Okay, let's use the same version as I use locally. So we have that. Whatever, let's do workday app. I don't really care. Huh. We might need this. Go mode download. I mean, I'd say that echo, it uses clean env. Huh. Let's copy. I don't know. So that would be all. Go build. And then I can say CMD is gonna be echo Okay, fair enough. Let's do. Yeah, a multi-stage build is what I would like to have, but hmm, at the same time, I don't really care for this example. So if I do docker build tag is gonna be game echo and then examples. Is it gonna work? No, because right. Then maybe I don't want to use any dependencies and I just read the environment with os readenv. I mean, I could just copy paste here the go mode and all of that, but or the other option is mark file, mark target. Yo, that's cooked. So we have the Docker file, and here I'm gonna say examples slash. So I mean, this is gonna work, but it's just gonna pause until it downloads everything. Okay, so that means we can do docker run. You know what? I don't know. Docker run example. I just want to see some environment variables and okay, so we have some examples. We can put a name. D is detached or what? Okay, so I want it to be interactive and also show the TTY. Game echo. So I would do this stuff, and we also need environment variables. So where is E? I mean, you can have an environment file, but dash E should be enough. So let's copy this. So I'm gonna do dash E, and this is not gonna be enough. So if we run this now, we cannot access the port 6969 because we haven't specified 6969 is mapped to 6969, right? So there should be a dash p here, publish, yeah. Oh, random ports, that's interesting. Huh. And yeah, thing is I was actually kind of wrong though, because it doesn't matter on what port the game runs, so we can always run on 6969. It matters only for the matchmaking server. Right, so yeah, that's, just the extra thing. So now it runs, right? And if I netcat to 6969, we actually get echo working. So the Docker thing works, right? Sure, honestly, if we go to examples, I still like to have the ability to change the port, but I think that these should be default 6969 and 8080, and then we change the publish port. So that's gonna be it. And host is gonna be by default 000. Can I have, so clean and GitHub default. Let's do. Can I have default? Oh my fucking god. Yeah, I hate, I don't know why it always jump scares me. Okay, so env default. So I could use here env default 000 and default, let's say the query port is gonna be always on 8080, and this guy is gonna be 6969, our protocol, right? And then you specify only the code and max players. Let's do docker build. Wait one. Let's docker build. Should be pretty quick. That's strange. And now we don't even have to say these are environment variables, right? We just have to say the publish port, and then the matchmaker is gonna put here something random which is available on the host. So that's how it's gonna work. Hello, this one stopped. Can we connect again? Hi. Can we connect multiple guys? Netcat. Yeah. So should work. Okay. Yeah, like next steps would be to implement that broadcast. So you send the messages to everyone, but let's say for now this is enough. And if we go to matchmaker, spawn should run a docker command here. So yeah, I guess thing is, for docker the address is gonna be 000. For AWS probably it's gonna be like an IP. So we'll just leave it like that. Okay, so let's see, golang process run os exec. So we can just run the os exec. Okay, let's see, command, and we can have arguments. So it's gonna be docker. Let's just copy docker run. Okay, docker run, and we'll have minus interactive and whatever. Here we'll use sprintf for that, and then we'll force you to name your whatever container. Probably this is gonna be also an environment variable that you can change, so you can run, I don't know, my game. What the fuck? So fmt sprintf. Right here we'll put %d forwards 6969, which is the default. I mean, yeah, whatever. At this point yeah, like whatever. I think that's pretty decent. Wait, we don't have a sprintf. The fuck? We should have a sprintf. Yeah. And here we need to put game port. Okay, so what's next? So we run the command. Okay, what the fuck? Errors is. Okay, I don't really care. Let's do that. So if we have an error, we just return it, I'd say. Okay, so now what? Can we just docker compose down volumes? Let's make sure that we don't have anything suspicious. Let's create the Postgres instance. Let's mix develop. Let's run our matchmaking. Oh no, first we need to run ban init migrate, and now we can run our matchmaker. Right, and if we curl a room, is it gonna work? Fuck. Error. Huh. Hmm. Okay, maybe it's a good idea to read what this thing says. So man, but I can I cannot focus on reading this shit. Code that always wants to run a program. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Let's do, I don't know, but this looks like the error, right? Exit status 1. Oh, it's just the Postgres thing running. What the actual fuck? Slog info running command cmd. Docker run. And why wouldn't this work? Like if I run it, netcat, and then we do 41691. Yeah, that's weird. Should work. Maybe I need to run it in detached mode. And starts and waits for it to complete. Oh, okay, so let's run it with -d because -d is gonna run it in background basically. Okay, let's see. So let's start that, and if I curl this bitch, we get that. And if we netcat to game port, let's not even look at the go logs, let's just try it. Oh my, it was too easy, dude. This was way too easy. And if we check docker ps, we have it here. Nice. So yeah, and now the thing is, we need to update how many players we have in the game. We need to do all kinds of stuff, right? So yeah, that's the reason why I would say for our examples we also need an HTTP server that lets you check some of those things, right? But yeah, that's pretty cool. You can connect now to the room that you created. So you just made an HTTP request to the matchmaking server, right? Sure, it's not perfect because right now we don't do any checks, we just spawn a command, but you can connect to that port, right? And it's an echo server, so just replies back with what you write. So we don't have like a game client or anything. It's just purely just a simple thingy. But yeah, I think that's I mean, if you think about it, it's like a pretty good learning experiment because we figured out how to run commands from Golang. I mean, we still have a lot to learn about this thing, but I'd say that this kind of project is, you know, something that you learn a lot from. But yeah, let's see. Let's see what we can do next time. Like, what else can we improve? So, for example, probably adding that /users endpoint in our game server, right? Adding that /users endpoint. What else can we do? Maybe having the health check here. And obviously the next thing is game server interface should probably have a kill, right? And the other thing is when we do docker ps, we can see it has a container ID. So if we want to docker kill, that's how we stop the docker image. So we'll need a kill method here. Sadly, that kill method is gonna take as an argument that ID somehow. So that means that somehow means that we need an extra field on our model with an ID. I mean, we already have an ID, but we'll need something like resource ID. Something that we can use to kill or identify the external thing that is running the server. Because code isn't enough. I mean, we can probably name the thing by code, and then, you know, if we do curl again, and now we do docker ps, I think if you kill the docker image by name, it still works. Docker kill suspicious void, right? So we can use the name with the code, so that makes sense. And yeah, but yeah, maybe we'll Who knows? Who knows? Right, that's my idea, using the code as some kind of identifier. But that means that code should be unique then. So maybe we can put here unique. Or I'm not sure how you do that with Golang barn, right? We need it to be unique then. Oh my god, again jump scare. But yeah, something like this. I guess unique implies not null, but yeah. So I'd say that this is pretty good progress, right? We just need to add this extra /users endpoint for examples to get how many clients are connected. A more complicated event handler here I don't think we need, because each game has its own implementation for this stuff. But I would say that all of them need that /users or some information. I mean, it could be /check or /check, and this /check returns more than just how many users you have. It returns status, so maybe /status is gonna be what we want to have, and the number of users is just one thing of the game, right? So yeah, that's another good idea. Yeah, so we just need to think about how are we gonna kill game servers. Based on what? Based on the code? Would make sense. Yeah, because the thing is, because I don't really want game server to have anything to do with the database, right? So yeah, maybe code is gonna be used to name the Docker images. But yeah, I'd say that this was pretty good progress. So we are able to make a request in the database, or I guess to our server. That request creates let's say ABCDEF. It creates a room, right? Now, yeah, it's true. I used the same code, so that didn't work, but it created this room, right? And it's also spawning a Docker image on this game port, or at least it publishes its TCP connection on the game port, and in the future it's gonna publish its HTTP connection on the query port. So yeah, if we netcat to localhost and this port, we are able to speak with the game server. So yeah, that's pretty much what we managed to do today, and see you next time.